What up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds TV, your favorite Sacramento Kings YouTube channel.
Thanks for joining us again. This is the Royal Rebounds Podcast with Calvin and Barry. On today's show, we're jumping back in the trade machine. Hopefully there's somebody in there who can play defense. We're talking about Russell Westbrook, a little Tim Duncan. But of course, the meat and potatoes of this show has got to be that crazy game in Charlotte. Barry, it's time for a nightcap, right?
It is. We're here, we're drinking beers, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you enjoy this content, consider subscribing to the channel. This is your Kings Nightcap. All right, Cal, so unfortunately the Kings lost tonight in Charlotte, 124-123. It went all the way down to the buzzer. Alvin Gentry gets to go back to his home state, hopefully looking for a win. And unfortunately, no defense in this game. Kings lose it at the end. The Hornets are down 7 players in this game, which is crazy. We talked about 4, then they were missing 5. Pre-game, they're like, okay, 7 guys are out due to COVID and other protocols. It is absolutely ridiculous. 2 of the highest scoring teams in the NBA. Mo Harkless was back. No Rashawn Holmes. Len and Davis both started tonight. Calvin, what were your, first impressions on this game?
Well, it felt a lot like Wednesday, other than the Kings just didn't make enough plays down the stretch. They brought their jumper in the first half again. That was the only thing that was really keeping them in front or keeping them in it for a while. Fourth quarter, teams finally decide to try on defense. I don't know how much defense was actually played, but they tried. And the Kings just fell apart. They came up short. We're going to break it down a little bit further, but my first thoughts are just disappointment.
Yep.
Sacramento does everything they need to do offensively. Another 30-point game from De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, he missed the 2 free throws at the end, but before that he was 8 of 8. They had everything going for them to win this game. They just didn't play defense.
Yeah, no defense. That is right. The Hornets shot a staggering 55% from the field and 40% from three-point range in this game. Both teams were on track to hit about that 140 number by the end of the game. And, things slowed down a little bit in the fourth quarter. There was a couple weird calls, verticality,
very
a challenge,
wild sequence to end.
A challenge that was successful, yet the Kings lost their timeout and they didn't get the ball. It was so strange. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But, Cal, you want to take a look at the box score?
Yeah, let's go for it. So De'Aaron Fox leads all scorers again for Sacramento, 31 points, 5 assists, 4 steals, 2 turnovers, shot 11 of 17 from the field. Another very efficient night for him. Terrence Davis, 19 points on 8 of 17 shooting. With 8 rebounds, he was the highest rebound man in the starting lineup tonight, which was pretty interesting, and added 3 steals as well. 15, 7, and 7 for Tyrese Haliburton. Marvin Bagley with a double-double off the bench, 15 and 10. Buddy Hield, 15 points, started off strong, but then fell apart just like the rest of the team. And Davion Mitchell, 10 points off the bench as well. James Bouknight, welcome to the NBA, 24 points. Let's scroll down here. 24 points for James Bouknight on 6 of 8 from 3.
He only made 1 3 the entire season leading up until this game, and he breaks loose here. This is not the same.
He hasn't played a ton of NBA games yet.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out
there.
But
this is not the same Bouknight that we saw in Summer League where Davion Mitchell locked him down. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to see that again. A couple things that stood out to me. Alex Len started tonight. Only 13 minutes for him. Only 1 foul. We both talked about one of his issues has been getting into foul trouble. Kind of weird that he only played 13 minutes in this game considering Rashawn Holmes was not available. Buddy Hield, 19 shots tonight, 2 of 10 from three-point range. I thought Haliburton shot really well in this game, 5 of 8 from three-point range. I'm surprised that he only shot the ball 9 times. Seemed like he had it going. No free throws for him. He wasn't aggressive enough to get to the line. But for me, one of the biggest performers in this game outside of De'Aaron Fox is Marvin Bagley. He played really well off the bench tonight, 27 minutes, 10 rebounds. He's the high man for the game for the Kings, 15 points, 7 of 12. He made a 3 in this game. I thought he played amazing. He had a block, great hustle plays. We saw him smiling on the bench. Yeah. He seemed to be engaged. He seemed to enjoy playing tonight.
He was the only guy, in my opinion, that came out ready to play right from the very beginning of the game. Yep. The only one on the team. And I give him a lot of credit. He's done that, very consistently over the past couple of weeks since, Alvin Gentry has really reinserted him back into this lineup. And he almost very nearly won the game at the end there with a tip back. We could have been really celebrating him today, but still, I applaud his effort. He's just continued to play better and better the more minutes that he's gotten.
He had a few chances to win this game. He had a 3, I think with 30 seconds left that he missed from the corner. Then he goes up. I'm a Kings fan. I'm going to say it wasn't a foul. It was verticality, and dude jumped into him. But
I believe that was Terrence Davis, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Terrence Davis. But yeah, no, sorry. Terrence Davis is who I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Terrence Davis went up, had that. Unfortunately, he was close to the basket at the end of the game, too. He almost had a tip in as well.
Yeah.
But 19 points for him, 1 of 6 from three-point range. But look at all the steals here, man. 3 steals for Terrence Davis, 2 for Haliburton, 4 for Fox, 2 for Buddy Hield. It doesn't seem like there was a lot of defense in this game. There was a couple, I guess, guys jumping passing lanes. There were a couple steals in the fourth quarter for the Kings that ended up in Terrence Davis getting dunks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just some really weird play here. You want to talk about the final minute of the game?
It was so frustrating to watch for me. First of all, I'm not really sure what was going on with the lineups. I don't know what happened to Harrison Barnes tonight. Maybe he was just gassed because he hasn't played a bunch lately, being out with injury, and they're trying to get him to reinserted back into this lineup.
Then you can cut it.
He didn't shoot well, so he wasn't really effective offensively, but I felt like going with him on the floor over Buddy Hield was definitely the better option for me on defense in a game when you needed to get a stop. Tyrese Haliburton also sat for a lot of the fourth quarter, which I was confused about because he was playing really, really well, especially shooting. I mean, as the game went on, the Kings really started to fall apart, hitting from outside. This guy was shooting lights out all night. He was 5 of 8 from 3. I think he really could have helped him there. He also had 7 rebounds and 7 assists, so he was just continuing to put his mark on the game. So I was a little confused as to what guys were playing in that critical moment. But the key for me, or what it really comes down to, is basically the 2 final possessions of the game. De'Aaron Fox has 4 steals tonight, and everybody is going to look at that and say, well, he must have played great defense. He did not play great defense at all, in my opinion.
Nobody did.
I'm just really disappointed with him because he is so gifted in terms of his speed, his quickness, his athleticism. There's no reason why this guy shouldn't be one of the better two-way players in the game. He continues to play lazy defense to me. His hands are always down around his sides. He was matched up on Gordon Hayward for most of the game tonight. I get it. If Gordon Hayward's going to back you down in the post, he's a really crafty veteran. He knows how to play. He should be able to get some buckets on you that way. But I can't let, if I'm De'Aaron Fox, Gordon Hayward continue to beat me off the dribble from the three-point line. You're way too quick for that, man. You should be sliding in front of him every single time. And with a minute left, Kings were, I think, down 2 or down 3 at that point. De'Aaron Fox is out there on the perimeter. He cheats again to try and get a steal 30 feet away from the basket on Hayward. Hayward drives by him for what you think is going to be a wide-open layup. Thank goodness Terrence Davis saves him with a block. But that was a huge possession there. And then the very next possession, the Kings come down. They're actually rotating and playing good defense in the beginning of the possession. It's a loose ball. Gordon Hayward gets it in the corner. It's an obvious trap. Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox are right there, and Fox comes over again with his hands down, which allows the pass to Cody Martin for a wide-open 3. That's the game right there. I mean, you just have to be more assertive and more energetic defensively. And it starts from the very beginning of the game. It's not just the last minute here, but those are just 2 huge, huge plays.
It seems like they either play offense or they play defense. I think I've only seen maybe 2 games this season where De'Aaron's been engaged on both ends of the floor. And don't get me wrong, there was a lot that I liked that I saw from De'Aaron Fox tonight. I love the scoring. I love the aggressiveness.
He's playing as good as I've seen him play right now.
Yep.
He's super efficient.
And, there was a point in the fourth quarter I saw him barking at teammates, pointing, telling them where to go. So you can't be the only guy playing defense, and that's got to be frustrating, trying to set a defensive tone, and other guys aren't. But you got to lead. You got to lead by yourself. You got to put your hands up. You got to get in front of guys.
If you're the best player, you've got to bring it every single night.
Yep. What's up, guys? Welcome, T, the baby daddy, Makami, 2, Charlie, Sass. It's good to see you all in the chat. I know you guys are hurting like we are, but it's okay. We're here. We're here to take on all your emotions, all your pain. Let us know how you feel in the chat. People are saying trade Buddy. People are ragging on Tristan Thompson. Oh, I wanted to ask you. We were talking about Marvin Bagley. It seemed like a point in this game he rolled his left ankle, and then he seemed like he was kind of hobbling a little bit afterwards, but he was left in the game. It didn't really seem to affect him too much when he had the ball, but like during timeouts and other stuff, I saw him limping a little bit. What do you think happened there?
Oh, I think it was towards the end of the game. He at one point he had to come out on a rotation to guard somebody in the corner. I forget who it was. But they put a jab step on him, and he tried to recover, and I think he rolled his ankle or something, like his foot came out of his shoe weird, and it messed him up there at the end. So it didn't look like it was bothering him too much. Hopefully it's not going to be – there's no lingering effect from it or anything like that. Like you said, he was left in the game, so I don't think it was anything major, just a minor tweak here and there. Why no Damian Jones tonight? I was a little confused about that too. I mean,
I feel like I haven't seen that guy in forever.
Yeah, but look, the Kings were hurting for somebody, a big man inside. I mean, what you really saw in this game was the Kings' lack of wing depth. Because the fact that the Hornets had so many players out, their whole lineup, all the guys that played tonight were wing players, good-sized, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", all big bodies, and that's why they dominated in the paint, because the Kings' guards – obviously they weren't playing great defense to begin with, but they're super undersized, and they just don't have that wing help to be able to counteract that. And so it forced people like Marvin Bagley to play smaller guys, put him in a really tough spot defensively. I thought he made a good effort on it, but he's not going to do a great job 9 times out of 10 in those situations. So, but I felt like Damian Jones is probably the most athletic center aside from Rashawn Holmes that they have. Tristan Thompson wasn't really doing much today, and Alex Len was struggling to stay on the court with those smaller lineups. So I would have liked to have seen him get a shot, or Metu or something like that. But
yeah, I was surprised we didn't see Metu. I think this is like the third game we haven't seen Metu in a row here. The Charlotte Hornets, you mentioned, 4 guys in their starting lineup played over 40 minutes in this game, and they're all wings or guards. Not a lot of big players. We saw Vernon Carey out there tonight, but he only played 11 minutes. Book Night came off the bench, 26 minutes, 24 points. They didn't really have much bench production beyond that, so the damage was really done by those guards and by those forwards in the starting lineup. A frustrating thing about this game is it kind of reminds me of that Sixers game where you're like, okay, well, no Ben Simmons, no Embiid, no Tobias Harris. This is a chance for the Kings to make a move here. And just like tonight, 7 players out. Kings are on a 3-game winning streak. They've been playing better on the road. They seem like they were ready to go. And then just no defense. They fell apart in the fourth quarter. And it is very, very painful. But I want to talk about this challenge call.
Oh, man. I'm not going to have a lot of answers for you on this one. It was very, very confusing. Not just the play itself, but the interpretation of the rule. I don't understand. I don't understand why you lose the timeout if your challenge is successful. There's a lot of things that I just don't get, but I think what it comes down to is the rule is not well enough defined. I mean, we have to figure this out somehow. If anybody... I understand how the way the rule is written and stuff. You can say like, oh, well, it shouldn't be called a foul because he initiated the contact and Davis went straight up. But if anybody's ever played basketball in their life, you go to any gym, play a pickup game, and you pump fake, get somebody in the air, and you go up and get contact and make the basket, that's an and one, man.
You can't get in the air.
I just don't understand. Yeah. So I think we just need to redefine what the rule is, because clearly nobody knows even the refs in this game weren't really sure how to interpret it.
Yeah, it's just so puzzling to me.
I was shocked that they overturned the call, honestly.
I don't understand any of it. You know, like, I was very disappointed. Initially, I saw it, and I'm like, oh, you can't let them get you off your feet. And then, bam, and one, and I'm so bummed. And then I'm hearing, oh, the coaches are challenging it. And I see the replay, and they're talking about verticality and all that, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty close, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're going to overturn it, but maybe they will. You heard me cheering. They're like, the call has been overturned.
Yeah.
I start cheering, and then he still goes to the line to shoot free throws.
Yeah, that's what I don't
and
understand.
It's like, what?
If the challenge is successful, how is there still somebody at the free throw line?
Yeah.
And then they lose the timeout. It's just the whole thing didn't make sense to me.
It's like, what part of the play were you challenging? Were you
Yeah.
challenging whether it's a foul? Were you challenging whether it was a foul, not a shot? I don't know what the hell is going on. And then, as you mentioned, Kings lose a timeout. Luckily, we have De'Aaron Fox, and he can get up the court in like 2 seconds. But just such a weird play. And then Cody Martin fouls De'Aaron Fox when they don't have a foul to give.
I know. Gosh.
And then Fox misses one, misses the second one, and Katie's like, oh, well, they had to miss the second one. That way they could get a putback. And I'm like, no, the Kings are down one. Make the second one. Make it. I would rather have overtime than a loss. Like, what are you doing? I think they were looking for that play where De'Aaron just flips it off the rim, and then he goes and gets that lay-in.
Yeah.
But
plus,
man,
I mean, like you said, they've got 4 guys that played over 40 minutes.
Take them to overtime.
Go to overtime. Everybody's playing almost 50 minutes. So
Exactly. Another disappointing thing I saw tonight, we talked about in the last podcast. Tyrese Haliburton traveled again at the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Gets the ball, shuffles his feet. What is going on, man? He's got to clean these up.
It's a terrible, terrible habit. I don't know who can get in his face and tell him. I mean, he should be working on that in practice every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Catch, jump stop, 1 foot. He shuffles his feet every time he catches the ball.
Yep.
We talked about it before. Even when he goes into a shot, he shuffles his feet. So it's not good.
I see some people here in the chat. They want to talk about Buddy. I'm seeing Buddy ass in here. Trade Buddy. A lot of funny things. I thought Buddy Hield played really well in the first half. 13 points. He was shooting well. And then he just started Buddy chucking it in the fourth and third quarters.
Yeah.
What do you think about Buddy? Do you think he deserves the most shots on this team?
No, definitely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, I don't care if Buddy Hield starts 5 of 5. He should not be taking the most shots on this team.
Only 1 turnover for him tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's because he was taking most of his shots from beyond the 3-point arc, and he didn't have a chance to put the ball on the floor too much. I mean, he did get some mid-range shots going early on in the first half.
I saw a dunk,
and
too.
A dunk and a layup, a wide open layup. But, you know, it's the same old Buddy for me. Yeah, I don't get excited when I see him make 2 or 3 shots in a row.
Yeah. It's like, is a shot from half court a turnover? Like, should it be a turnover when
Probably,
you just chuck it up from there? It's crazy. Patrick says, and by the way, Fox is not fast anymore.
I think he's just not trying hard enough. That's to be honest, that's what I think it is. I mean, you can watch him run as fast as anybody you see in the NBA down the court when he has the ball in his hands for a layup. So why can't you move your feet fast on defense?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about trades, guys, when we reach the second section of the show. But right now we're just doing the nightcap. We're drinking a couple beers. We're talking about the game, and then we'll move on there. So, yeah, Cody Martin was huge in this game. I hadn't even really heard much about this guy before this game, but I think he had a huge game. Other than
he's been
mental
playing well
mistake
all year.
At the end.
Yes, other than that mental mistake. Both him and his twin brother, Caleb, who's in Miami now, he's coming off like a 24 or 26-point game.
Yep.
I mean, these guys have been doing this their whole lives. They've always been scorers. They're very athletic. They're pretty reasonable defenders. They're just finally starting to emerge, and get comfortable in the NBA. Cody's shooting like 50% from 3 this year.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your keys to the game?
Yeah, big failure on the keys to the game. Let me pull it up here. Well, I know one was share the ball.
I can read them out here.
Okay.
So, number 1, take them seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did take them seriously. It's not like they just went out there and expected to win this game. They just didn't give enough effort defensively to stop any of these guys. So that one, okay, fine. We'll say they took them seriously. But the other two, they failed big time. Share the ball, only 22 assists tonight. That's just not enough. And guard the three. The Hornets shot 40% from three. A lot of hand down, man down tonight.
Yep. Unfortunately. Kyle, we need to get a way for you to get these keys into the locker room so they know what's going on, because
they
should know these things.
But that's the thing. It's so much of defense is just effort. Like these are not like secret things that, I could go to Alvin Gentry and be like, hey man, you should really guard the three tonight against the Hornets. They shoot it really well. And he'd be like, oh man, you know what? You're hired. You need a job.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So it's just effort. That's what it is. The rotations, the closeouts, hands up, active hands, energy defensively. That's what it is. They just don't do that enough.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of drills do you work on to keep your hands up?
Well,
they
actually, you do have drills in defense that are like that.
They need to do some shoulder exercises or what?
No, I mean, in high school they teach you that. Like it's not a new thing. So I don't know. It's one of those tough things as a coach, especially when you coach grown men and professional players. Mm-hmm. How do you motivate somebody to play better defense? These guys make millions of dollars. I don't know how you do that. When you're in high school and stuff or in college, you still have something to prove. And a lot of pros have something to prove too, but they're getting paid for it. So I don't know how you get inside somebody's head and say, you just have to try harder. But that's the issue. That's what it is. You just have to try harder.
Let's talk about Harrison Barnes. He's been injured, second game back, 26 minutes for him tonight. He didn't score a lot, only 8 points, 5 rebounds, no assists, and 2 turnovers. We didn't see him late in the game. What did you like? What did you dislike from HB tonight?
Well, I liked his aggressiveness early. I mean, he came out and hit his first 2 threes. I thought that he was taking really good shots, and I liked the fact that he was looking for offense and looking to score. That was one of my things, right before he got hurt. He got off to this really great start, and then he seemed to kind of just fall out of the offense a little bit. He wasn't looking for a shot as much. I don't know if he just doesn't have his legs back under him all the way or what the deal was. I mean, this should have been a game that he could have really taken advantage of. I think it was a small lineup. He's really good around the basket, getting to the free throw line, and you just didn't see that much from him tonight. And then he was not on the court late in the game. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but I hope to see him bounce back soon because the Kings really need him.
And you and I both praised him this morning on the Royal Report. I don't know if you guys tuned into that or not. Calvin and I do a Sacramento Kings sports talk show every Friday morning called the Royal Report. You can find it on this channel. We take about 30 minutes. We wrap up a whole week of Kings action in that 30 minutes. So if you don't have time to watch all the games and pay attention to every single little thing, all you got to do is watch that show every Friday, and you'll be right up to date with the Kings. All right, so moving on here. We talked about Len. We talked about Fox, Terrence Davis, Haliburton, Barnes, Bagley. Mo Harkless is next. First game back.
This will be a short conversation.
Not a lot to talk about. 3 minutes, 1 foul. This is like some Roy Hibbert numbers.
Yeah.
Zeros across the board. Was it even worth throwing him in this game?
Well, yeah, it was actually because, like I said before, they needed a wing defender out there, somebody who's going to make a stop. So I'm not saying that Mo Harkless is that guy all night, but that's the reason he's on this team. He's not on the team to score 20 points.
Yeah,
he's out there for his length and his defense and his versatility, which they could have really used tonight. But again, it's another one of those things. He hasn't played a lot lately, so maybe his legs aren't under him all the way, or he's still not fully healthy, or it's just like the rest of the team and he wasn't engaged enough out there defensively. I don't know what the deal was, but he certainly did not help them at all.
Oh, the Bucks are beating the Rockets now. They're up 5 with 2 minutes left. That's great. All right, let's move along down the line here. Tristan Thompson is next. If you guys watched the show this morning or the last podcast, you probably heard about this Tristan Thompson drama that's happening. Calvin's keeping up with the Kardashians. Tristan Thompson had another baby with another person, not named Kardashian.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The paternity test hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, so he's getting sued for child support. And the thing that pops out for me the most, because I could care less about all this other stuff, but the thing that pops out to me the most is he's asking to lower his compensation that he needs to give her because he plans on retiring from the NBA at the end of this season. This is the last year on his contract. He's only 30 years old. He has achieved a lot in the NBA, but I think he's probably going to continue to play. He probably wants to win another ring. I wouldn't be surprised if I found him on the Lakers in a season or two from now, or even this season playing with LeBron James. So, 21 minutes from him tonight, only 6 points, 6 rebounds, 75% shooting from the field. I thought he did decent tonight.
He did okay. I mean, honestly, I thought the Kings could have taken advantage of him more inside. He was really pinning smaller guys inside, getting really good position. They found him a couple of times, but there were a bunch of other times I saw him down there with good positioning, and no one even looked his way, because the Kings at that point, they were still shooting pretty well from three, and I think everybody was just trying to get up their outside shots. I felt like they really could have taken advantage of him inside more. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, defensively, he, again, just like Bagley, he was put in some tough spots because he had to guard people further out on the perimeter than he normally does. And so they just really were missing more wings.
Yeah, and it's weird. Rashawn Holmes didn't play in this game. The last time they played the Hornets, Rashawn had a 20-20 game, which is huge. They end up starting Len. He only plays 13 minutes. Yes, 27 for Bagley, but only 21 minutes for Tristan Thompson, and that's pretty much it. There's no more bigs on this team that played. Like you said, no Jones, no Metu. They seem to be going really, really small as they can, which helps them on the offensive end of the floor, but not on the defensive end of the floor at all.
Not enough. They put together, 2 or 3 good minute, or a couple 2 to 3 minute stretches where they get in the passing lanes and they cause turnovers and they get out and run. But that, that's good because they go on these short 10-2, 12-2 runs, but then they come back and they allow a big run right after that. So it's not sustained long enough.
He changed his name again. Now it's Trade Fox Now for Ben Simmons ASAP. Man, is there a limit on how many times you can change your YouTube name? That is hilarious, man. I'm glad to see you in the comments, in the chat again. We enjoy everybody that's in there. We want all your opinions to be heard. We want to be a voice for Kings fans. So let us know exactly how you feel in the chat, and don't hold back. All right, Calvin, one more guy I want to talk about before we move on to the next section and we talk about trades and all that stuff, and that's Davion Mitchell. 26 minutes for him tonight. I wish he had 26 points.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
10 points, 4 assists, a rebound, no steals, no blocks, no turnovers, 1 foul. How'd you feel about Davion?
The same way I felt about a lot of the Kings players tonight. He started off great. He was aggressive. I liked how he was trying to get to the basket. His shot was falling. But then later in the game, I thought he played all right defensively. I mean, no Kings player really played great defensively, but if there's one guy who I was like, yeah, he played okay, it's always going to be him because at least I know he's going to move his feet defensively. So, but I felt like he had such an advantage off the dribble on these guys. He was constantly breaking guys down and getting to the basket, and all of a sudden he just stopped doing that. So I don't know what happened there, but.
Dude, the end of the first quarter, did you see that play where he's at the three-point line, pulls it back, comes back in, goes in, gets that little bucket? That was a very, very impressive move.
It was very, very nice. And that's his game, man. Yep. They talked about it on the broadcast today. He was in the top 3 last year in the nation of all college players in isolation points. The guy can break people down off the dribble. He has a great step-back shot, and he can get to the rim and finish. So he plays hard. Yeah, I just saw that comment as well. He always plays hard, so you got to love that.
And, I want to talk a little bit more about De'Aaron Fox just real quick here because I thought he had a great game offensively. And we saw him getting to the basket. We saw him taking guys off the dribble. And all these shots that were short earlier in the season, he seems to get that little roll now where it just hits the front touch. And then it kind of bounces and in. And I was hoping I was going to see that on one of those last free throws, but unfortunately I didn't. But I'm just happy that he's made those adjustments and those shots are going down for him now. They just got to clean it up on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah.
That's all they need to do.
I totally agree.
That's all they need to do. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive deeper into the Sacramento Kings, talk about some trades and some other fun things with a section called Around the Crown.